ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Jared, hey, we're gonna need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of this stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
It's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. It's a special edition of the Midday Market Report for November 1st, 2024. Good friend and colleague, Mr. Sean Alvarez, a.k.a. Mr. Smooth, here to talk about the Breeders' Cup 2024. And, you know, we got 4 races today and, of course, the big day tomorrow. Sean's here with us for all the big races, the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, the Belmont. Comes on occasion. Big cards throughout the summer, Saratoga, Del Mar, and we're blessed and honored to have him here today to break down a couple races, one today and, of course, the Classic tomorrow. First and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsor and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play. Download the app. It is free. Travis, Zach, Amber, Holly, Jay Berry, the team, family, second to none. Come on board, join us. It is going to be a great run, I promise you. Viva Tequila Seltzer CT Bets, that team and family. The East Coast is cuckoo for coconut. Go try one where you drink your adult beverages. And of course, Atlanta Steak and Seafood. Head on over to Facebook. Introduce yourself to Terry Smith. While you're there, head on over to atlantasteaksandseafood.com and place an order today. Promo code STEAKS. Steaks 10, get 10% off your whole order. Based out of Atlanta, so place an order today. You'll be grilling by hopefully Sunday or Monday. So without further ado, let's bring him in. The one and only Mr. Sean Alvarez. Afternoon, sir.
Hey, good afternoon. Happy Breeders' Cup weekend. You know, we talk about my favorite meets of the year being Del Mar and Saratoga, but I mean, if there's one weekend of the year that I have pinpointed on my calendar as soon as it comes out. Well, we don't need to know as soon as it comes out. It's always the first weekend in November. You know, as other people have coined it, it's the World Series, it's a Super Bowl, it's the Olympics of horse racing. Not a lot of better racing that we're gonna get throughout the card throughout the year. Usually Kentucky Derby weekend or Belmont weekend, we're really gearing up towards that one race. And while the Breeders' Cup Classic is big, there's so many good races going on this weekend. A lot of excitement leading up into these 2 days.
Well, we bring you on for the big races. You were here for the Derby. You were here for the Preakness. You were here, obviously, for the Belmont. You came on Fridays throughout the summer talking Saratoga and Del Mar. My one Breeders' Cup story, claim to fame, many, many years ago, I jumped in a car with my buddy and another buddy, and we drove up to New Jersey where they were hosting the Breeders' Cup. We each threw in $500, so we had a threesome. $1,500. My buddy goes to the window to play the pick six, and he got to the window, and they said that will be 2250. And he's like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I thought it came out to 1,500." So one of the horses that he added made it jump. And instead of coming back to us and say, "Hey guys, I need 250 each," I mean, because there's a half hour, 35 minutes in between each race, and unfortunately, back in those days, that was plenty of time for me to get at least 2 or 3 more beers in between each race there. So he decides to take it upon himself and just take one horse off and make the play for 1,500. Well, true story. That was the Curlin year, and I was at the final corner, and I've never seen a horse glide like that horse. He came around that final corner and was just gliding, and he won. Well, Sean, may the man, he knows this is true. We hit 5 out of 6 for a consolation prize of $4,500. We each got 1,500 back, and the one horse that he pulled off did win. We would have hit 6 out of 6 for $250,000.
Yeah, when first off, when you started the story, I already knew where it was going to go. If you're a horse player, you've heard the story before, you've lived the story before. If you scratch one horse out of all the horses you have, guess who's going to win that race, or even win that race of the 6? And then, after you said you had a consolation of 4,500, my first thought is 6 out of 6 would have paid a lot.
250K.
Yeah, yeah. Got a little chills. Like I said, I've lived that story before. Not for that amount, but we've all been there if you're a horse player.
Before we get to today's race, again, the classic. The classic is the classic. This is the best of the best of 3-year-olds we're going to talk about. And I already have your selections in front of me. And I'm smiling ear to ear because of it. I don't want to tip the hand there, but the races today sets up for tomorrow. There's 4 great races today. I've been a part of syndicates. Everyone throw $500 in, and we got 5,000 in the group, and then 3,500, 4,000, whatever. Each year is different, but you want to be alive and really kicking for Saturday, because that's when the adrenaline goes. Have you been a part of groups where you've had a fistful of 50s and you got a little careless on Friday, and the next thing you know is, what am I doing? I got this whole card on Saturday, and my fistful of 50s is now a handful of 20s and 10s.
Well, speaking of chills, when you said fistful of 50s, I got the chills there as well. I don't know why, but I was told getting into horse racing, never touch a 50, and I've lived by that scenario. And again, I don't know why, but I was just told that way, and so I just don't do it. But with that being said, this isn't sports betting. You're not getting -110, and need to, put that fistful of 50s into the window. These are pari-mutuel odds. It's all based on how many other people are cashing those same tickets based on the pool and based on the takeout. And we're talking about a weekend where across the country, across the globe, people are shoving their money into these pools. You don't have to spend a lot to win a lot on Breeders' Cup weekend. You got to cash the right horse, you got to cash the right price, and cash the right sequence. So you don't need to throw all your bankroll in on Friday. Like Jeff said, there's 12 amazing races tomorrow. We've got 10 great races today, 5 of them being Breeders' Cup weekend. As with any other sport, any other betting, bankroll is key, and bankroll is what you should really be focused on, as well as horse or handicapping and putting your bets in. So definitely be smart tomorrow. Be smart today, big day tomorrow.
And you talk about, for the average person that really doesn't understand the pool here. You go to the window and you bet the Dodgers minus 110, they win. You get your 100 back, and you get another 100. Here you bet $100, or you bet $10, on a 10-1, and then you're like, holy shit, you just don't understand. So the trifecta is, even though it comes back chalk and maybe an 8-1, because the pools are so big, you'll be shocked at some of the numbers that you actually get back.
Yeah, I mean, if you've watched or tuned into the Kentucky Derby on Kentucky Derby Day, it doesn't necessarily have to be the actual Kentucky Derby race. Throughout the card, there's so much money in those pools that, like you said, maybe not, chalk, but if you get some kind of price in there, like you mentioned, an 8-1, something that, other handicappers aren't necessarily including in their picks. Now you've knocked out so many people in the pool, and all of a sudden your $8 trifecta is coming back $150, where, in sports betting, you really have to get weird with, same game parlays or teasers or whatnot to make, your $10 turn into 100. You just have to be right a little bit in horse racing to get that 10-1 or that 8-1 type of price. And, like you mentioned in the pick six, a lot more money if you can be right in these big pools. So, it's exciting for the horses that we're going to be able to see in, their different type of racing, whether that be, the dirt mile, the turf mile, the Breeders' Cup Classic, the turf sprint. There's so many different race categories and so many really good horses that we're used to in the United States, but then, we're also getting the best of the best coming from overseas. So yeah, it's a big weekend. It's a lot to be excited about. And, fingers crossed, we're counting, hopefully not stacks of 50s, but stacks of other bills on Sundays.
Well, we're going to go to today's card. I think it's race 10. You sent us over some horses that you like in this race. Again, the stage is yours. The paddock is yours. Take it away, Sean.
Yeah, so one thing to keep in mind about Breeders' Cup Friday is they call it Future Fridays of the Stars, or Future Friday, Future Stars. There's been all kinds of different names, but these are generally going to be 2-year-old races. And this 10th race today is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. It's no different. It's for 2-year-olds going 2 turns, 1 mile on the turf. And so what you're going to see when you look at the Breeders' Cup past performances, or even if you're looking at just the form, you're going to see a lot of European or Japanese type racehorses. And my top pick is not going to be any different. I was trying to say this to myself numerous times. I don't know if I'm getting it right. I'm just going to call him Amore City. There is an O in between the A and the M, so I apologize if I'm getting it wrong. But if you look at a lot of these horses that are, especially turf horses, that are coming from overseas, a lot of them are going to be trained by two trainers. One of them being Charles Appleby, the other one going to be Aidan O'Brien, and this one is going to be trained by Charles Appleby. It is the 12 Amore City morning line at 10-1. What I really like is Charles Appleby actually has another horse running in this race. This horse is 10-1. The other horse is 4-1. So you'd think the barn rider, William Buick, would choose the 4-1, thinking it's going to be the better horse of the Charles Appleby kind of contingency. But that's not the case here. William Buick chooses the 12, 10-1. He's only had one other jockey ride this horse, Jamie Doyle, who actually won that race in the maiden race first time out. But this horse has done not a lot wrong. 2 Group 2 races, 1 Group 1 race, but he's gone 1 turn on the turf, going 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs on good footing. Good footing on the European surface is like a heavy footing over here in the United States, especially at Del Mar. He's going to see a much firmer turf ground today than he's seen. And I think when you look at his pedigree on who he's out of and who he's by, I think he's going to soak up this firm turf going. He also is going to be a little bit further closer to the pace, which doesn't necessarily help when you're on a soft going like he had across seas. So I think he's going to be better on the firm turf going. I think he's going to be better going stretching out. I really like that the barn rider sticks on Amori City in this race. And I don't necessarily hate the outside post position because he does have gate speed. He doesn't need to be on or near the lead. I don't think they want to be on or near the lead, but he has enough speed out of the gate to settle in and at least cross over and not be hung out super wide, which I'll talk about with a different horse in this race. I actually don't think this is the horse to beat. My next choice is going to be the 11 New Century, which is the morning line favorite at 5-2. If you're looking at what the horse is getting as far as bettors go, he is getting money right now, which is really early. I don't put a lot of weight in it, but it is nice to see. He's got, again, the top rider that you can get overseas in Osen Murphy. Osen has ridden this horse in every start in his career, but a lot of people are going to hang their hat on what this horse did at Woodbine last time out. And yes, it's great to see, quote unquote, a North American race under his belt where he did well, but Woodbine really plays towards what we're going to see over in Europe. It's a lot softer of a going, and you're just going to see that all the time. It doesn't necessarily have to be raining in Woodbine for it to be soft there. It's very foggy. There's a lot of moisture in the air, so they don't get firm turf going very often. So I don't necessarily think that race is a good stand or a good point to hang your hat on to be able to swallow 5-2 in a really, really competitive race. I do think that this is a horse that you're gonna have to beat. It's not, in my eyes, the horse to beat, but it is somebody you're gonna have to beat. What I don't like about this horse is that over in Europe, he's been somewhat close to the pace. He has a very similar route of running as my top pick, Amori City. But then you see what he did. He was off slow. He got bumped at Woodbine, but then he won the race by a length and a quarter. I hate to see that because now I think that the trainer and the jockey are going to be like, wait, let's take back. This is, he's going to make his best run coming off the pace, where I've seen this in the past and the horse just gets a little confused. He had a bad trip in that race. It's not necessarily what the horse wants to do. So I'm not sold on what they're going to do out of the gate. I would like to see him be a little bit closer, but with what he did at Woodbine, I think they're going to take back and make one big run. And that's not necessarily what you want to do on a firm turf going at Del Mar. You want to be up and not necessarily in touch with the pace, but you don't want to be too far separated from those pace setters, or at least who's going to get first running. And first running, I think, is going to be that 12 Amori City. Now, my third choice, I'm going back to that Charles Appleby trained horse, Al Quadra, the 4 at 4-1. I don't necessarily see why he's 4-1 and Amori City's 10-1. He did run a big race at Woodbine, and he did have trouble trips in that race, but it is kind of the pace scenario that he's probably going to want. Now he gets a much better post position than his stablemate, Amori City, my top pick. And I think that's going to be why bettors are going to lean a little bit more towards Al Quadra than the 12 Amori City. You don't necessarily want to be hung out wide, but again, I don't think Amori City is going to be, held back from that post position. I do think this horse is somebody, again, not the horse to beat, but a horse that you have to beat to win a type of race like this. But again, William Buick has ridden this horse the last 4 starts. It's not necessarily a great sign that William Buick has choices, decided on a different horse. And not only on top of that, but this horse is owned by Godolphin. Godolphin is one of the premier owners in horse racing. You don't necessarily want to piss off Godolphin. So I do hang my hat a lot on the fact that William Buick chose the 12 over this horse. And then my fourth pick that I don't think you can slack on, I actually really like the one Satono Carnival at 20-1. This is a Japanese horse, 2 for 2. He's gonna jump up in class. He won a Group 3 over in Japan in his last start, but that also came back with a time form rating in 92. That's very competitive with some of these horses that are 5-2, 4-1, even the 10-1. Now you're getting 20-1 on a horse that, like I said, is very competitive with that time form rating. And he's only raced twice in his career. We've talked numerous times in Del Mar races, Saratoga races, Kentucky Derby undercard, what have you. You see big jumps in their second race, in their third race, in their fourth race of their career. And this is one of the more lightly raced horses in this race. Now, what did we just talk about? Post positions being hung out wide. He's going to get the rail. He's going to be able to save all the ground. He's 2 for 2 in his race. He has a really good time form rating. And now you get 20-1. It's just, to me, it's not a horse that you can leave off your card. And when you dive a little bit deeper, you look at who is this jockey? Doesn't have any stats on the DRF past performances. And you dive in a little bit deeper. Her name's Rachel King. She's won like $30 million in her career. It's not like she hasn't won races. She's from Australia, and this is the only Breeders' Cup race that she's racing today and tomorrow. And she's immediately hopping off onto a plane to go out to Royal Melbourne for the Melbourne Cup, which is a giant race. This is actually the first Australian jockey that's ever ridden in the Breeders' Cup on any Breeders' Cup day. Mainly it's because they're going to stay over there to ride in the Melbourne Cup. It's a huge, huge set of races over there. But I think that's big, that she is taking the time to come to the United States, that not only that, but the Japanese trainer found her over in Hong Kong and was like, I want you to ride my Breeders' Cup horse. I think there's a lot to be said about that. It's not that she's, I don't mean to knock other jockeys, but there's been other jockeys where, I've said, what is this jockey doing riding in a Breeders' Cup race? This is not that type of jockey. She's got a lot of experience. She's ridden really good horses. And I love the fact that the trainer not only didn't decide, hey, I'm just going to grab a US or somebody that's already there riding other horses. I'm going to bring this jockey that I really like what she did in Hong Kong. I'm going to bring her over to ride my only Breeders' Cup horse. I really like that. I really like her price. And then I didn't tell Jeff about this, but the only other horse that I want to kind of talk about a little bit, I actually think the horse to beat is the 13 Henry Matisse. Morning line odds is 6-1, but I think this is the horse from Europe that's coming over that has a lot of good form over there, that if he runs back to that form, I think he is the horse to beat. Not only that, he gets Ryan Moore, who, if you've watched Breeders' Cup races in the past, Ryan Moore's been riding Breeders' Cup races for, 7-8 years. And not only that, but he's always given his horses the best chances to win. So you get a top-notch jockey, you get Aidan O'Brien, you get that form from Europe. It is the horse to beat. But again, he's going to be hung really wide with that 13 post. And with his running style, to me, it's a knock against the horse. Hopefully we get a little bit better prices because he is going to take money, but with his post position, I think that he's going to need to be a world beater to beat these type of horses hung out that wide. So my selections in order is the 12 over the 11, the 4, the 1, and then the 13.
And how, in layman's terms, do you have any suggestions to the people watching and listening how you might want to play that at the window?
So I kind of kept going back and forth on this. Do I go 4, 11, 12 so I can, quote unquote, afford to put the 13 in there a little bit defensively? But I decided against that because, although, the one Satono Carnival is my fourth pick, I do not want to get beat in my exacta with that horse if he decides to win that race. So I'm just going to box him. It's going to be a little bit more of a a green type of a bet. It's not going to be a top handicapping type of bet where you get weird. So I'm going to box my exacta picks for $1 with the 1, the 4, the 11, and the 12. So again, it's a boxed exacta for $1. 1, 4, 11, and 12, and that will cost you $12.
All right. That is for today, and we're going to go to one quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk the Classic and Saturday. Stay tuned. TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. We're on to Saturday, the Classic, and I'm smiling here because when we talked about the Kentucky Derby, the first Saturday in May, we both fell upon a horse that I still think was the best horse in the race, and it got robbed. And this is a horse that went from Japan to Saudi. It just bounced around for 4 or 5 straight races, and I, in my eyes, still got robbed at the Derby. And here we are at the Cup, at the Breeders' Cup and the Classic. And of course, I'm talking about Japan's own Forever Young, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're two of the same there. I definitely believe that Forever Young was the best horse in the race. If he just wasn't hand fighting with Sierra Leone, and not in any fault of Forever Young or the jockey, Sierra Leone was drifting out right into Forever Young or whatnot. So yeah, I completely agree with you. I love what this horse was doing going into the Kentucky Derby. The fact that he was just a world traveler, like you said, going from Saudi over to Dubai and then over to the Kentucky Derby to finish third by a head at 7-1. And me, like I said, like you mentioned, me and you were just so heavy on Forever Young. And all Del Mar and all Saratoga, I remember specifically, all you kept asking me is, what's going on with Forever Young? What's going on over there? And, the more and more I dug into it, leading up to the Breeders' Cup is, one of the big things over in Japan is it just gets so hot and humid that they basically shut down in the summer, especially their top horses. And that's what we saw out of Forever Young. He came back in an unlisted stakes race out in Japan to win by a length and a quarter, geared down, just did it all on his own. It was 100% a workout type race leading up into this race. I love that they brought him over early, got him a workout over the Del Mar track. It wasn't anything to bat an eye out, going 5 furlongs in 104. But that's how this horse trains. Leading up to the Kentucky Derby, he was doing the same thing. He did a 1-3, 5 furlongs on a good track on the Churchill main track. So it's what this horse has done. I really like the way he's looked leading up into this race. Just the way he's looked over the track. It seems to be, like you mentioned with Curlin earlier, seems to be gliding over the track. But again, These are all world beater type of horses. A lot of them look really good on the track. You can make a case for almost any horse that you see running on the track, because it's not a horse that you're normally seeing, working out on a Thursday at Del Mar in the summer or what have you. So, yeah, leading up to that, my top pick, I won't go too far into it, is Forever Young. I really like what this horse does. He doesn't need to be further back. He doesn't need to be on the pace. He's done it numerous times against, a class like he's gonna see tomorrow. So it's not like he's doing anything that we haven't seen him do before. We get the rider that he's seen his entire career back on tomorrow. Love what this horse is doing. I don't necessarily love the rail, but he is quick enough to get out of there and not deal with too much trouble. So that is going to be my top pick, the number 1, Forever Young at 6-1. The number 3, City of Troy, is going to be my second pick. This is the morning line favorite at 5-2. Little weird that we're seeing a horse like this in a $7 million Breeders' Cup Classic, the race of the weekend. Never raced on dirt before, and now he's going to do so in a Grade 1 $7 million purse. But again, look at the connections. It's Aidan O'Brien. If you go on social media, one of my favorite things ever to watch is when what we call Aidan's Army is out running on the track. They do so in a line. They do so not anywhere near what any other contingency does. I love the way he works his horses. It's like questioning Bob Baffert or Todd Pletcher or what have you in United States races. I'm not questioning what Aidan's doing here. This horse can run all day. He could have run on the turf mile. He could have ran in the actual turf race that goes in a mile and a half. This horse can run all day. There's no questions that he can run on turf. But obviously, Aidan has seen something in this horse that he thinks he can beat all these, what we call, like I said, world beaters in the biggest race on the turf or on the dirt, going a mile and a quarter. So like I said, obviously he's seen something. He's by Justify. His dam is by Galileo. This horse can run on all surfaces and can run all day. Again, we're getting Ryan Moore. The post position is nothing that is going to bother him getting the 3 posts in this race. I'm not smart enough to bat an eye at Aidan O'Brien. Not necessarily a horse that I want to see win the race, because I want to win, a little bit of money, whether it be on the win in with Forever Young or on the exacta, and we're not necessarily going to get paid with the betting favorite winning the top, winning the race. But definitely not something I'm going to question with those connections. And not only that, but like I said, his pedigree. A horse that we talked about with, may have costed Forever Young the win in the Kentucky Derby. My third choice is going to be the 11 Sierra Leone. We talked about this horse a lot going into those Triple Crown type races. Had a knack for drifting in the stretch. They changed the bit in his mouth. They also changed the jockey from Tyler Gaffleone. I don't necessarily think it was Tyler's fault, but you land Flavien Prat, that if you watch the shows that Jeff and I have done, in previous years and leading up to this year, there's no surprise that I think Flavien Prat is the best jockey, not only in the United States, but probably in the world. I love what he does. He knows the horse. I don't necessarily think, he ran his eyeballs out in the Travers, but also Fierceness ran, I think, Fierceness's best race that in his career. And then you look at the second choice in that race, it was Torpedo Anna. And, that's another horse that Jeff and I have talked about with how really impressive she's been with, going up against other mares, and then how impressive she was going up against older males in the Travers. So definitely not something you can bat an eye at. I think this horse is gearing up into some of his best races. Flavian's got a little bit more of an idea of, I don't necessarily have to be too close like he was in the Travers. I don't have to be too far back like he was in the Belmont and the Jim Dandy. So I don't love the post position, but if anybody can get him through, it's going to be Flavien Prat on his 4th ride on this horse's career. again, you get Flavian Pratt, Chad Brown. Who am I to bat an eye about that or question what they're doing? Another horse I really like, and this is a little bit against what Del Mar's main track is probably gonna show. You should be a little bit further closer, not further, but closer to the pace. It is going to be a little bit harder to close into fractions unless they run their eyeballs out. That I don't see happening. But my fourth pick is going to be the 7 Ushba Tesoro at 12-1. This horse ran won 7 in a row before going to Saudi Arabia and then Dubai, where he didn't necessarily, didn't run bad races. Ran second to Senior Buscadoro in Saudi. Didn't necessarily have a great trip in Dubai, but again, we talked about it. Going from Japan to Saudi to Dubai, that takes a lot out of horses. And while he ran, lost by 8 lengths, he was still the second best in that Dubai World Cup race. Ran a good race in an unlisted stakes race. I'm trying to get my terms right based on where the race was ran, but ran a good race in the unlisted race. Ran second by a length. Wasn't necessarily trying to win that race. It was more of a prep race going into this. Has looked really good on the track, minus the little outburst that he had where he saw something on the track. Thank goodness for the outrider that kept his hands on the reins and didn't. If the outrider didn't keep his hands on the reins, we're looking at a scratch today or tomorrow. Was definitely not going to run. But like I said, this horse is going to come from the back, but he does really good running coming from the back. And if we get some kind of fractions to run into, I do think that we're going to see this horse up and near the wire, at least coming, towards the end of the race. And he may not win, but we're looking at 12-1. Let's spice up the exacta. That's my fourth pick. Again, a horse that I'm not necessarily using. I am going to use defensively a little bit because Mike Rapoli has, blown smoke towards this horse the whole time, talking about fierceness is ready to roll. Fierceness is ready to roll. But I don't know Mike Rapoli personally, but if you watch what he talks about, he's always loving what his horse is doing. He can't really get a good feed on what Rapoli's saying because he always likes his horse's chances. But like I said, I think this horse ran the race of his career in the Grade 1 Travers, holding off Torpedo Anna. I really thought she was going to go by there. But it was a big race, obviously the biggest Beyer speed figure. I like the fact that Pletcher, gave this horse a little bit of a rest leading up into this classic. I don't love the post. I think there are other horses that he has to at least respect on the front end. I don't think we're going to see the repeat of what we saw in the Travers. So I am going to play the horse defensively underneath, but I am going to play against him on top. So my picks are going to be the number 1, Forever Young, on top of the number 3, City of Troy, the number 11, Sierra Leone, the number 7, Ushba Tesoro, and then the number 9, Fierceness. So again, my picks are 1, 3, 11, 7, 9.
Any thoughts on an exacta trifecta? How would you play that at the obviously win and place on the one if you're going to give me 6-1 there, but any other little tidbits there?
Yeah, if we miss the exacta, but if Forever Young wins the race and you don't bet it win place, Jeff, I'm not coming on next week. Yeah, so I'm going to get a little bit weird. I don't necessarily think Ushba Tesoro, the number 7, can get up in time, but I do like him underneath for an exacta. So my exacta is going to be 1, 3, 11 over 1, 3, 7, 9, and 11. So again, it's 1, 3, 11 in first over 1, 3, 7, 9, and 11. And for $1, that again is going to cost you $12 to punch.
And before I let you leave, we've had an amazing show. A lot of people watching, and I want them to be able to follow you and see and you get your work whenever you do have that, obviously at Wager Talk. But what is your thoughts with Torpedo Anna? Again, has had an amazing year. Big name, big following. What is your thoughts with her this weekend?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, she's running in the distaff tomorrow, and I believe there's one other horse that I think can give her fits, but I just think she's head and shoulders better than, like I can't remember who said it. I think it was Tom Durkin talking about Rachel Alexandra. She really doesn't have much to prove to her sex, generation, and class. I think she's head and shoulders better than them. She will be a single for me tomorrow. I think there's one other horse that has a chance at upsetting her, but that horse is the second choice. And, you can even think, oh, I Torpedo Anna's 4-5 on the morning line. She'll probably be 2-5, 3-5 by the time they break the gate. And, the first thought is, oh, well, I beat Torpedo Anna. I should get paid. And, the double and the pick 3, the pick 5, whatever you're playing, that's just not really going to be the case because everybody that's going to try and beat Torpedo Anna is going to play that 6. And I'll get you the name of that horse in 1 second. Raging Sea. I was going to say that. I didn't want to be wrong. So Torpedo Anna's 4-5 on the morning line. Raging Sea's 7-2. To get paid in this race, you're really going to have to get someone out of those two horses to be on top. But, to me, I think Torpedo Anna's, a stone cold single. Something weird is going to be, is going to have to happen for her to lose this type of race. I just think she's much better than those in this race. Also, like I said, I'm a big believer in pace makes the race. She doesn't need to be on the lead. She can be on the lead if she wants to be, but then she can also come from off the pace. So I think it's basically going to be Brian Hernandez's race out of the gate. How does she break? How do other horses break? But she's working really well going into this. And if I'm being honest, as a fan and even as a handicapper, I would really like to see her just run her race. And if she wins by a pole, I think it's one of those where, as a fan, it's really good to see it and fun to see. So, if I was handicapping back when Rachel or Zenyatta was running, I'm sitting back as a fan and hoping they win anyways.
And it's funny because, not so much maybe today, but tomorrow, all those exotics, the pick 5s, the pick 6s, or part of the syndicate, you missed the first half of the daily double. Well, guess what? You come back, play what you had in the second half, and you move it to the next one. And that's in those pick 3s. We missed that one. Let's move it to another pick 3, 4, 5s. And what makes the Breeders' Cup so special is there's always one. There's either the single that you're talking about that the whole world has, or in those singles, there's only one horse that can beat them. So they put both of them together. And then out of the clouds comes that 70 to 80 to 1, and all those pick 5s and 6 turns into confetti.
Well, you definitely hit the nail on the head. And that, that's the other thing is that it's almost like if I see Torpedo Anna losing this race, it's going to be something that I couldn't get to with your money. Kind of thing. And, like I said, I think you hit the nail on the head. If somebody like Torpedo Anna loses this race tomorrow, what's going to happen in the next race? Imagine 70% of the pick 5s are out. What do you think is going to happen? All that money is going to be thrown into that next race. And, suddenly that pick 4 that starts there, or that pick 3, or those exactas, are going to pay more because the money in those pools are, substantially higher. So, like I said earlier, bankroll management is key. Don't get too ahead of yourself. Don't, if you lose one race, don't just throw it in the next race. There is a wide range of, betting options on Breeders' Cup weekend. I know, for instance, tomorrow, I know there's, 3 pick 5s. There's an all turf pick 4. There's an all dirt pick 4. There's pick 3s throughout the card. There's daily doubles going through stuff. So, don't get crazy. Don't bet on every single one of them. Pick out what you like. If you're a pick 5 player, play the pick 5s. Maybe dabble in the pick 4s. If you're win place only, play win place. There's nothing wrong with, sticking to what you're good at, sticking to what you're comfortable at, and, hopefully waking up on Sunday morning saying, well, I would have been knocked out in the pick 5, but I hit 6 winners on the day. I mean, like I said, stick to what you're good at, stick to what you're comfortable at. If you play everything, that's a quick way to go broke today or tomorrow.
And take it easy on the beer line in between races because it will catch up to you. Trust me on that one. So,
generally get your bets in before you start drinking, and don't go back to the ATM.
No. Leave your credit cards at home, guys. Trust me.
Yes.
Scroller's been going the whole time. Everyone knows on X or Twitter to go follow you at Smooth Turn 2. Tell them what you have behind, or if anything, at Wager Talk.
Yeah, so my page at Wager Talk, real easy to get to, wt.buzz/SA. It's also basically everywhere on my Twitter. So if you just go to my Twitter, you can easily click the link. Breeders' Cup starts today at 11:30 Pacific time, Jeff. 11:30 Pacific time starts today. My card is up for today. Scratches have already been announced, and I've made the changes. So go ahead and go over there and grab that. My card is also up tomorrow, and scratches will I will change my card based on scratches through the day tomorrow. So I'm not going to leave you high and dry if something scratched and it's messing up my tickets or my selection. So again, it's wt.buzz/SA. Let's have a great weekend and not necessarily close out the racing year because we still have the fall meet at Del Mar, but this is the weekend that we've all penned on our calendars. So let's have a great Friday and Saturday at the Breeders' Cup.
And I just have to say this out loud. It's so good to have you here for a Breeders' Cup weekend. We have talked for the years that you've come on with all the big races. This year you added the summer card with Del Mar and Saratoga, and I've been telling you every year we falter and we never get a Breeders' Cup show together. I just want to personally say thank you so much. We got our first Breeders' Cup show together, so next year it's not just the Kentucky Derby, it's not just the Preakness, it's not just the Belmont, it's not just the summer card of Saratoga, which could be even longer next year, and Del Mar will be year 2 to the Breeders' Cup show. How's that sound?
Oh, absolutely. Like I've said numerous times, it's always great talking with you, and I get to bumble and ramble about four-legged animals running in an oval. It's 2 of my favorite things. So we'll definitely make sure that happens.
From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Sean Alvarez at Smooth Turn 2. Head on over to Wager Talk. Buy his card for today. Buy his card for tomorrow. Enjoy the races. Cash some tickets and have some fun here. Can't thank everyone else for watching and listening. We will see you soon.